The proof of the pudding lies in the eating, and I welcome you to this session where we will use data from a bank to deal and get some insights. The problem that we wish to solve for, or the outcome that we want to get, is simple. We want to know who are the bank customers who opt for term deposit. Now, you might say that what am I talking about? And therefore, let me introduce you to the case study. As mentioned earlier, we're talking about some banking data. And before we move in here, let me show you the data dictionary of this bank. This is a publicly available data set which can be used to understand which are the customers who subscribe to term deposit. That is the goal of looking at this data set. Now, this data set, though, there's bank data, when you look at the zip file, it has two sets of data. There is bank full.csv and something called bank.csv. So this bank.csv has 4,521 rows of data and 16 plus attributes. Which are these attributes? Let's look at it. There are these 16 variables for which you will notice that data has been given, starting from age, job, marital status, education, default, that is, has the customer defaulted in an earlier loan, the balance, which is the average yearly balance, housing, does the customer have a housing loan, has a personal loan, the contact communication, are you contacted the customer through the cellular or a landline telephone or some other way? Last contact day of the month, last contact month of the year. When did the bank touch base with the customer last time? Duration, that is during that contact, how many seconds did the bank executive speak to the customer? Campaign, the days that passed by after the client was last contacted, called P days. Previous, which is the number of contacts performed before this campaign for this customer. P outcomes, which is the previous marketing campaign outcomes. Like, did they try to sell to that customer some other product, and was it successful or not successful? All of this information is available in the bank for its customers. And when they have done the telecalling campaign for these 4,500 odd customers, some of them have taken a term deposit and some have not. So you have the 17th variable, which is Y. And this says that has the client subscribed to a term deposit, right? I hope this is very clear. The data is called bank.csv, and it has a CSV file which looks like this. CSV standing for comma separated. Now, two or three unique things that may come to your mind when you have looked at this data is that there is a lot of information as the data dictionary has been provided. So one of the things that I have done is actually gone into the data model view after importing in the data and added in the property segment some details from the text file that I just showed you with the details of the various fields. So what I'm trying to tell you is I have created a data dictionary by adding descriptions into the properties from the TXT file. Now, when I look at the data, this is how the data looks. I have gone to transform the data let's look at some of the transformations that have been done. One of the transformation I have done is rename the column headers. So instead of Y, I have made it term deposit yes, and a few other such renaming. And what I have done is, so here you will see, I have changed it to term deposit yes, and I have done the same for a few other columns. And what I do after that is to save this file, because I have made the changes in the basic data that I wanted to do. Again, when I went into the transform the data, I have again used that transform column to do some renaming, some addition, some conditional columns, so that I can get some good information. So this process is called increasing the information value of the data. How do I get better conclusion clarity using the same set of data? So including renaming, creating new columns which can also be under dummy variables and derived variables. I have gone ahead and done changes in the data set. So all these changes I will close and apply so that it reflects in my main data model. And now I'm ready for the next step, which is the visualization step. Now, when we look at the visualization capacity in Power BI, there are a few things to note that we can use multiple methodologies to do some analysis. One is, of course, create graphs and then use slicers, pretty much the way you do it in Excel. And here there is an option also to use Q&A, which I will show you. We can create drill down to explore, where you create a more complicated graph with multiple variables. And finally, we have the option to create an auto drill down, which comes under an option called key influencers. So I hope you're very, very excited to look at this data and come up with some good conclusions on this data.